Shalom, 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 yasha'Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Spirits of Vengeance. Spirits of Vengeance. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa, double honors the apostles and elders, the GMS, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of this earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. Like I said, today's lesson, Spirit of Vengeance. All right, and this is from the Express, U.S. Serial deleter butchered 110 women, but was freed, and now no one knows where he is. All right, serial deleter butchered 110 women, but was freed, and now no one knows where he is. Okay. It says he stands among history's most infamous serial deleters, a predator who claimed to have deleted hundreds of young girls across Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. Yet Pedro Alonso Lopez, known as the chilling monster of the Andes, has walked free for decades. His current location remains a complete mystery. Born in October 1948 in Colombia's Tolima region, Lopez entered a world already consumed by violence and brutality. His father died violently before his birth, while his mother, working as a street worker, battled to support 13 children in extreme poverty. Lopez experienced and endured violence from his youngest days. It says he later claimed he was kicked out of the family home at an age of 8 after his mother caught him inappropriately touching, it says, a severe punishment that thrust him into Bogota's merciless streets. There he joined wandering groups of homeless youth, sleeping under bridges and scavenging for food. According to Lopez's own account, he endured constant assaults from both adults and older street children. He was briefly housed by an American missionary family, but ran away after stealing money. Being a lifelong cycle of deception and flight. It says when Lopez reached 18, he was jailed for car theft and sent to Bogota's notoriously violent La Modelo prison. It says just 2 days in his term, he already endured a violation by 3 fellow inmates. His response was swift and brutal. Fashioning a crude weapon, he deleted all 3 assailants. It says prison authorities ruled the deletions justifiable self-defense, adding just 2 more years to his sentence. After his release in 1978, he traveled across the Andes and beginning a spree of violence that would make him one of the South America's most terrifying deleters. Lopez roamed through Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, targeting young girls from poor or indigenous families, often street vendors or children walking alone. It said he would lure them with promising of money gifts, sometimes pretending he needed help finding a bus station. Once alone, he would essay and delete them and bury them in crude graves. It says in subsequent interviews, Lopez coldly chose his victims because they were easy to take. When asked about his motivation, he chillingly responded, "I lost my innocence at the age of 8, so I decided to do the same to as many girls as I could. In 1979, the number of missing children around the Ecuadorian city of Ambato had reached alarming levels. Frantic families handed out flyers, and local newspapers ran desperate appeals, but authorities dismissed the disappearance as trafficking cases or family disputes. Then a strange accident exposed the terrifying truth when devastating floods tore through Ambato's outskirts. They uncovered the skeletal remains of 4 girls. This grisly discovery revealed a pattern too horrifying to ignore. At the same time, Lopez attempted to kidnap another child, 12-year-old Maria Povada, but her mother intervened and raised the alarm. Let's see. It says local residents captured him and turned him over to police. At first, Lopez stayed silent about his offenses. However, after days of refusing to speak in custody, he confided in what he thought was a fellow inmate who was actually an undercover law enforcement officer, confessed that he had slain hundreds. He then offered to lead authorities to where his victims lay buried. Investigators accompanied him to isolated countryside locations where they made findings that seemed impossible to comprehend. Dozens of burial sites were excavated, each containing the body of a young girl. Lopez spoke calmly as he pinpointed each spot, remembering every detail with terrifying accuracy. He stated, "I liked the girls because they are pure," he told the officers. "I killed them with love." Authorities eventually recovered 53 bodies in Ecuador and accepted his confession to at least 110 across the country. Lopez also admitted to countless other deletions in Colombia and Peru, possibly surpassing 300 victims in total. His trial in 1981, his 1981 trial was made international news. Family members of missing children filled the courtroom, desperately searching for closure. Ecuador's legal system at the time only allowed for a maximum prison sentence of 16 years, even for the country's most notorious serial deleter. Lopez was found guilty on 57 counts of deletion and was sent to a high-security Garcia Moreno prison in Quito. While serving his sentence, Lopez gave numerous interviews, often giving inconsistent stories. He bragged about his power over life and death, while sometimes claiming he had been framed or was just an accomplice. Prison guards reported that other prisoners frequently tried to delete him, and he survived several stabbing incidents despite impassioned pleas from the families of victims. Lopez was released in 1994, 2 years early, for good behavior. He even bragged at the time about being the man of the century. Ecuador deported him to Colombia, where he faced new charges for the deletion of a 12-year-old, one of few Colombian victims officially linked to him. He was found guilty, but declared mentally unfit and was sent to a psychiatric hospital. 3 years later, in 1998, doctors declared him mentally stable and released him on bail with worth roughly 55, dollars or whatever. Authorities required him to check in with police every month, but he never did. From that point, Lopez vanished without a trace. His last confirmed sighting was in September of 1999, where he showed up at a government facility to obtain a new identification card under a false name. 3 years later, Interpol issued an arrest warrant for another suspected homicide. in Colombia, but he continued to evade capture. 2005, officials briefly suspended the warrant following allegations that a body was found in Colombia was his. However, forensic analysis remained inclusive, and many believe he is still alive. Let's see. There have been unverified sightings of him in Ecuador and southern Colombia over the years, but none have sustained. Let's see. Today, the so-called monster of Andes will be in his late 70s. If he is still alive, he remains one of the most wanted leaders who has never been recaptured. A man who could potentially be roaming free, despite confessing to over 300 deletions. All right. Yeah. Right. So that's crazy. All right. And this is when you think about when this come to mind, it obviously has me think of Ecclesiasticus. All right, the spirit of vengeance, man. Okay, so let's get that real quick. All right, but just think about that and think about what's coming on the earth at this point, right? Even if he's deleted, right? There are more spirits like that are upon this place. Okay, this is Salakia. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance. All right. Which in their fury lay on sore strokes, and in the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Okay. And that's a spirit of vengeance right there. All right. When you have over 300 deletions, all right, the Lord is that's the definition. We know that Esau is the wicked, right, which is the sword, but this is also, it tells us that our people have surpassed the deeds of the wicked, right? Let's get that, right? So you see, right, and who was he deleting? All right, his own people, all right, Colombia, Peru, right? They said the native and indigenous people, all right. Jeremiah 5:26. Yep. This is Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 26. It says, for among my people are found wicked men. They lie wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap. They catch men. All right. In this case, this man was catching young girls. Okay. Let's go to what is that? I think it might be 28. Yeah, 28. This is Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 28. It says, they are waxing fat, they shine, yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper. And the right of the needy do they not judge. But the point that I want is that they overpass the deeds of the wicked. All right. This man has over 300 deletions. All right. And they called him a monster, man. A monster of the Andes. Okay. And, understanding that, he's a spirit of vengeance. All right. Let's get back to that. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 28. It said, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. All right, it says fire and hail and famine and death, all these are created for vengeance. The teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. It says they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon the earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress. his word. Okay. And ultimately the man disappeared into, and now they don't know. They don't know if he's alive or not. All right. But he was a spirit that was created, all right, to bring vengeance upon the earth. Okay. What more now? All right. Even if that, like I said, that man is deleted, right? There are other spirits just like this on the earth. All right. Whose imaginations, what is that? It's just like I said, in the days of Noah, right? Yahawashi said, you know, the days of the coming of the Son of Man shall be like the days of Noah. Back in the days of Noah, right? Let's get it. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 5. It says, "And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was evil continually." Right? And you can see that that man's heart was continually evil. Okay? And knowing that, right, the scriptures talk about how when we get into Second Esdras 14, all right, it says for Second Esdras chapter 14, verse 16, it says, "For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter." It says, "For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein." Okay? All right. And that was, what, the 80s and the 90s. All right. And here we are in, 2025, about to be 2026. Right. And much more greater evils, right, are coming. All right. Upon this place. All right. The Lord has spirits of vengeance out there, and they're waiting, all right, for their go. All right. To what? To appease the wrath of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go to let's see. Let's go to the book of Matthew. All right. Book of Matthew 24. Salakia. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. It says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." All right. And these are, understanding that in these last days, this is what it's going to be like. All right. It says, in the NOT, "Sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold." Okay. Because now you see, mothers and fathers deleting their own, children. All right. I saw another article where this teenage boy, he deleted his grandmother, right? Basically beat her, all right? Beat her to death in a church. All right? Like these are the times that we're in. All right? These are times of great evil. Okay? And that's why the scriptures say Ephesians 5 and I believe it's 16. All right, let's start at 15. It says, "Seeing then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." It says, "Redeeming the time, because the days are evil." All right, the NLT, Ephesians 5 and 15, it says, "So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise." It says, "Make the most of every opportunity in these days of evil." All right. And one of the things we should do is to fear Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right. And let's get this. Now I'll close it out. So Lakia, and get to it. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus. Let's get that. Or the book of Sirach, 33 and verse number 1. It says, "There shall no evil happen unto him that feareth Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. But in temptation, even again, he will deliver him. Okay? So you have to put your trust and your faith in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Fear the Lord. Okay? Because it's the Lord who is sending these spirits of vengeance out here. All right? So it's best to fear Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Like Yahawashi said, fear him fear not him that is able to kill body, but fear him that is able to kill soul and body in hell. Okay? Because the Lord is ultimately the one who's sending these spirits of vengeance out. Okay? So it says, there shall no evil happen unto him that feareth Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. That's why it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All right? It also says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of being accepted of him. All right? So I just wanted to do this quick lesson. The Lord's will, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad, and mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect out there. Stay diligent in the household of faith. Stay diligent, stay focused, keep praying. Fear Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right? And remember to walk circumspectly in these last days. All right? Because the days truly are evil. All right? And with that, I say a ball, and shalom.